you given out any protest permits, and if so, where?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Have you given any protest permits?
We have not.
And if so, where?
Sir, who's in charge of the security around the courthouse, the streets, the sidewalk? Who's in charge of that security?
As it is usual with the with Miami-Dade County and the incredible partnership we have with all the law enforcement agencies, it's a multi-agency approach.
Right.
So we're all responsible to keep Miami safe.
So it's you and the state and the county police that are in charge?
And the federal agency. The property itself is a federal
Right.
property.
So will there be barriers, metal barriers?
We're not ready to discuss that at this time.
Okay, because, sir, before you go, because we're getting, I'm Shmo Prokopis from CNN. We've been hearing from people in the building around that area that they're concerned that there's no hardening around the area, the perimeter, and that people can just freely come and go. There's yellow tape right now that's been placed. Will that change? Because there is a lot of concern that people may try to storm the building or try to enter some of that area. I mean, are you going to harden that area?
Well, what I can tell you is reach back to those folks that have reached to you and tell them that there's no reason to fear.
How can you say there's nothing to fear?
The last time former President Trump...
How can you say that, sir?
Guys, can we hear one at a time? Can we hear one at a time?
I understand, but how can you say there was nothing to fear? I understand.
Because we're preparing, we have experience in handling large demonstrations. This is the city of Miami.
Right.
Chief, start closing the streets.
As traffic becomes backed up, or if we have an abundance of folks that necessitates them to occupy space on the streets, then we'll make those decisions as the PCC or the police command center.
Chief, are you working with the Florida National Guard with this today?
No, we have not reached out to Florida National Guard.
Have there been any specific threats or posts or anything that you all are taking serious specifically?
There has been a lot of posts, none that I'm aware of that can cause any concern of any type of credibility.
Two more questions in English and then we're going to go to Spanish. Two more questions.
Mr. Mayor, Andrew Feinberg with The Independent. The last time former President Trump called for protests on a date certain, there was a riot where there were police officers, hundreds of them injured, some died afterwards. Have you considered asking the former president not to call for protests? Have you spoken to him? And then
I have not spoken to him. I don't have his phone number. But I will tell you that during the George Floyd protest, there were tens of thousands or thousands of people on our streets in Miami. We were prepared. I think we were a model for how to deal with those protests in the country. And I have full faith and confidence that our department, as the chief just said, that has dealt with many kinds of protests that are very, very large, will have the right action plan, will have the right resources in place to make sure that there are no incidents.
Mr. Mayor, do you agree with the chief that there's nothing to fear? People shouldn't be worried about anything?
I think the chief has been clear. Give me one second. I think the chief has been clear that we're taking this very seriously, and that we are prepared for what will happen tomorrow.
Right.
And that, as he's indicated, we have a lot of experience in protests of this magnitude. Like I said, during the George Floyd protests, that were multi-day protests, multi-week protests, frankly. Thankfully, there were not many incidents. We had a lot of resources at our disposal that were very unique, in my opinion, in the country, and allowed us to manage things without hurting anyone and without unnecessarily large numbers of arrests. So I feel confident that he has a plan in place.
Puede repetir. Vamos a español. ¿Puede decirnos si ha identificado alguna amenaza creíble o alguna protesta puntual o es todo sorpresa hasta el punto?
No, el jefe ha indicado que no hay una amenaza específica. Es general, obviamente, la preocupación. Y como nosotros lidiamos con las protestas durante el incidente con George Floyd, nosotros tenemos mucha experiencia lidiando con manifestaciones que son grandes, que son de miles de personas. Tenemos recursos que son diferentes, yo creo, de los recursos que tienen otras ciudades, que han sido muy efectivos para manejar un público grande sin tener un incidente.
Catherine Doyle with NBC News.
Yes.
Does Trump's indictment create an opening for you in the presidential race, and would you pardon him?
This is not, I'm not here to talk about politics. I'm here in my role as mayor of the city of Miami, projecting confidence to our residents and to the residents of the country that we're going to be ready for tomorrow to make sure that there isn't anything that is not representative of, as the chief said, of who we are as Miami. So I'd rather leave that for another conversation.
Una más pregunta en español. Español.
Específico de que vaya a haber una protesta masiva, según ustedes tienen entendidos.
Bueno, lo que explicó el jefe, que él estaba listo y preparado para una protesta que puede ser tan pequeño como 1.200 personas y tan grande como 50.000.
Pero no hay nada específico.
No, él ha dicho, hemos visto cosas en las redes sociales, obviamente, que indican que va a haber una protesta. Como yo expliqué al principio, las protestas tienen que ver con muchos factores, con si está lloviendo, no está lloviendo, etc. Yo tengo la mayor confianza que el jefe y el departamento, que somos 1.400 policías, que son increíbles, que cuando tuvimos estas manifestaciones durante George Floyd, la forma en cual ellos actuaron fue fenomenal. Yo tengo la mayor confianza que vamos a estar listos.
Mayor Suarez, you've mentioned George Floyd as a comparison a couple times. How does this event tomorrow compare on the interagency coordination and the size of what you're expecting with other events you've seen in Miami?
The George Floyd one was very large, thousands of people, and it was multi-date. I thought we handled it very well. We did things not to create unnecessary confrontations. We gave people a space to express themselves without unnecessarily creating confrontations. In that moment, in that particular case, we had a curfew that we implemented. We had a variety of different resources that we used that I thought were different than other cities in America, and they allowed us to de-escalate without creating incidents. And so I think we'll be able to use those tactics again.
Alcalde, la preocupación que es real de que no hay barreras físicas.
Sí, no, yo no escuché eso.
Exactamente, si en español si no lo puede.
¿Cómo que no? Mira, yo tengo que depender y yo dependo sobre la sabiduría y la experiencia de nuestro departamento de policía, que ha lidiado con eventos de este tipo o más grandes en el pasado y lo han hecho exitosamente. Yo tengo la mayor confianza que cualquier eventualidad que sucede, vamos a estar listos para esa eventualidad. Si la protesta es más grande, posiblemente vamos a utilizar diferentes recursos para mantener la seguridad que si la protesta es más pequeña. Así que agradezco la pregunta, lo entiendo, y vamos a tomarlo en cuenta con nuestras preparaciones.
Alcalde, no sé si esto para usted quizás sea mejor.
Information about whether Mr. Trump will be handcuffed, and do either of you have a view about whether that should take place?
We do not.
¿Qué calles sufrirían cambios desde mañana? ¿Qué calles?
Bueno, como explicó el jefe, deberemos de tener la expectativa que va a haber cambios y que si alguien toma esa ruta normalmente debe desviarse o posiblemente ir un poco más temprano al trabajo. Sin duda, no sabemos el tamaño que va a ser la protesta. Tenemos ideas y puede ser más grande o más pequeña. Y a base de eso vamos a tomar nuestras determinaciones. Thank you guys.
Para el jefe Morales.
Are there going to be designated areas for the supporters versus the protesters? Because in honesty, the two of them mixing might be the biggest trouble of all.
Gotcha.
So the logistics downtown make that a little bit difficult. Obviously, if we select based on the crowd size as we're making our determination and we're stepping up our strategic plan, we will have a First Amendment designated area that will have sight and sound. And if we begin to see that there's opposing parties, we'll at that time make sure that they're separated and there's plenty of officers on the scene to make sure that we maintain.
Morales, perdón, Morales.
About the coordination between the city police department and the county, which, you know, in the George Floyd protest, you all work very closely in coordination. It is a larger department.
It's a seamless relationship. The county and the city of Miami have an incredible working relationship. That was the very first call that I got when the event was announced from Director Freddie Ramirez. What do you need from us? And they have always been there for us and synonymous with us.
Jefe Morales, perdón.
Supporters of the former president can go anywhere around the streets, sir. I'm just trying to understand how this, they're going to be able to, you're not going to have any areas designated for them. They can just go anywhere they want around the perimeter of the courthouse.
That's what the Freedom Street says.
That's what your plan is at this point.
Jefe Morales, perdón. ¿Están haciendo alguna observación?
I'm sorry, that's it.